Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is our NXT review, and we are 3 weeks away from NXT Great American Bash, where we know for a fact we will be getting Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Cole in seemingly just a standard singles match, which is a bit weird, but okay. You know, we may get into that a bit later. I will say that this episode of NXT on the whole, even though there were a few things that I was perplexed by, and one thing that I was annoyed by, but I'm trying to keep perspective, on the whole, I would say I like this episode. I think this is a very purposive episode, knowing the Great American Bash is on the horizon. We know that Diamond Mine is coming next week. I am so, oh my god, if it is Gabe Stevenson, I am so excited to see this dude fucking go. But also, we've got a battery charging in NXT, and it left us at 11%. One has
21.
to wonder. Oh, it left us at 21%. I thought it said 11. All right,
No, it showed up 3 times. It was 1%, then 11%, then 21%.
I didn't even see the third one. I only saw 2 vignettes. All right, well, 3 times left us at 21%. Whatever the third vignette was, if you could let me know, I'd appreciate it.
Dude, it was the same thing. It was just the battery.
Well, no, I'm saying when it showed up in the show, because I didn't see the third one.
Oh,
so
I don't remember when. I just remember seeing it.
Well, either way, 3 vignettes. I'll just put it somewhere randomly. Ending at 21%. There's already been some speculation about who it might be. We'll get to that later in the show. We'll probably just talk about it all in one thing with the first vignette. So on the whole, I like it. I like that we've got a lot of new acts coming in NXT. We know Frankie Monet is going to be doing an encore or a world premiere next week as well. So next week seems like it's going to have a lot of Diamond Mine and Frankie Monet. So it almost seems like NXT is prepping that next generation in a way, or that next era kind of talents that we should really keep an eye on. And on the whole, I was a fan of the episode. What did you think?
Yeah, it was a fun episode. There were a few things that didn't just mildly annoy me, but downright pissed me off. And we'll talk about those probably in the first segment. But other than those few things, and I would say it's like an 80 to 20 split. Like it was 80% good, 20% pissed me off. So it was a good NXT, I would say. Strong episode. I had fun. Let's go.
All right, first segment, heat of the night. I'm just going to get the one thing that really ticked me off right out of the way. I hate that Team Boomers beat GYV in the main event tonight.
Yep.
Now, where I'm keeping perspective is that it's the same logic as with Swerve and Bronson Reed that we've been talking about. The longer it takes for GYV to get their title shot, the more likely possibly that they'll win the fucking tag titles. So I'm actually cool with that perspective with Team Boomers going first. I just wish it wasn't at GYV's expense, because I feel like, again, they needed this win. How you look matters, and they look tough, just not as tough as Thatcher and Ciampa, who I don't even really like the tag team. But again, the only solace I'm holding on to, whether it's shaky or not, is, well, if Boomers go first, MSK will beat them. They can say that they beat a team with a former NXT champion on it. Then GYV may get their shot next, and maybe the titles will change hands. But I was not a fan of Boomers winning the main event. That was the biggest thing.
Ciampa got powerbombed onto the announce table cover, and he sold it like death, and yet he still had it in him to counter Zach's powerbomb attempt into an air raid crash within a minute.
Yeah.
That was some bullshit right there.
Yeah, absolutely. I wasn't a fan of it at all. Then again, I'm really not a fan of Ciampa, and I like Thatcher, but I can't get as behind him as I would like.
Ciampa straight up gives me Master Roshi vibes at this point.
Yeah. So that was my biggest complaint. What about you? I know you said there were some things that pissed you off.
That was one of them for sure. That was definitely one of them.
Right.
I think the biggest thing that pissed me off about tonight is that... How do I even start here? LA Knight cut a completely babyface promo and then pulled an Alexa Bliss, literally the exact same shit that she does, where she'll cut a really sweet, heartfelt babyface promo and then at the drop of a dime, change her tune completely, do a complete 180 and turn back to the heel that we already knew she was in the first place. That's exactly what LA Knight did here. But the worst thing about this to me, other than LA Knight's general existence on my television, is that Cameron Grimes was put in a position where, as the babyface, the right thing to do is simp for a fucking boomer. I hate that shit.
Okay, so interesting you bring this up. I didn't viscerally hate the segment. Here are my feelings with the segment. I get why you'd complain about LA Knight's promo because we have seen it before. Honestly, I would have been more pissed if there wasn't a pivot because I'm like, wait, he's going to pivot, isn't he? And then when it seemed like he wasn't, I'm like, really? So we're just going to have the heel be totally hard felt? And I was going to go back to our problem of, does NXT even have enough heels? Why I can almost forgive this one, I feel like LA Knight with this promo, whether or not you and I like the structure of it or not, he got the whole crowd to turn on him because there was a good portion, like an audible portion that was cheering for LA Knight when the other crowd was cheering Grimes. And then I feel like after he pivoted and he took it to DiBiase, like everybody was happy to see Grimes make the save. Now, I also agree with you that it sucks that, again, you've got to simp for the legends when I feel like Ali was completely in the right with what he said about Raw Talk. Like, why can't I walk my own path? You guys are obstructing my path. Why can't I do that? And we see that it's just part of the culture. Like, no, you've got to defer to these people that paved the way for you and this and that. And I'm like, yeah, I get it, but, like, do you have to do it so hard? Like, you know? So, really, again, I'm trying to look at the positives. I don't know, maybe I'm just in a good mood because I did get things done that I needed to tonight while I think also somewhat successfully balancing paying attention to NXT. But, I mean, this, to me, completes Grimes' babyface turn. And I think it's working. And LA Knight could obviously be a better heel, you know, by not being a dollar store rock for starters. But I think he did enough to get the crowd, and you're right, Foster, by the way, to get the crowd fully on Grimes' side. Because I know there was an audible portion that was like, LA Knight. And I think he had all of them like, yeah, Grimes, because they're bigger fans of Ted DiBiase than they are of LA Knight. So Cameron Grimes coming to his aid. That rubs off on Grimes, even for this one venue, on this one night, in this one segment. So I was more forgiving of it in that context, but I can understand why you were upset.
Yeah, I just hate when the whole shtick, and especially in this instance where the legend in this case is literally a fucking heel. So you've got a heel legend getting beat down by a heel current-day talent, and a babyface current-day talent has to come out to save the heel legend. It makes no sense, and I hate it.
Yeah. Anything else you want to air out for our first segment?
The only other complaint that I have, really, is the way that they structured the literal final moments of the show, because they kind of teased earlier. It was so fucking weird. I hated it. So I'm guessing this was a mistake, but it might have been intentional as a way to just keep us on the hook, and I hate it either way. Mackenzie was trying to catch up with Regal and Joe as they were leaving the building on their way out to the parking lot. And she asked how Regal felt about the first night with Joe as his basically enforcer. I don't think she actually used that word, but I don't remember what word she did use. And Regal didn't get a chance to answer because we cut straight to Ciampa and Thatcher walking down the hall. And we get this, it was a cute little segment where, you know, Thatcher takes the big old bucket of popcorn from MSK, shoves some in his mouth and throws it. Like, it's fine, that's fine, it's cool. But then the next time we see Mackenzie, Regal, and Joe, they're in Regal's office again, and they get interrupted by Gargano and Theory. And then the next time we see them is literally the last segment of the entire show, the last thing that we see before the show goes off the air. So I'm thinking, like, holy shit, something big's about to happen. Regal's about to get fucking T-boned by a big truck that's going to be revealed to have Cross in it or some crazy shit like that. And no, he just leaves, and that's just the show. Like, how anticlimactic can you build something up to be? What the fuck?
Anticlimactic, but I think it proves that Joe was the answer to making the NXT parking lot safe. I mean, holy shit, right? Because that was my first thought. It's like, oh my god, they're in the NXT parking lot.
Dude, that's actually a great point, honestly. Like, it's so iconic that Joe screamed at Regal all those years ago, get better security, and now Joe is the better security.
Precisely, dude. Precisely. Although, in all seriousness, I do agree somewhat with your point, because I was waiting for something, right? I was waiting for, like, Cross to be driving the car, and for Joe to be chasing it down, and Big Joseph to be like, where's Cross taking William Regal? Because, you know, he has to say everything very loud. And, like, that didn't happen. So they just kind of drove off. And I don't know, I was looking for some other things to be tied up. Like, I expected a later segment, right, where Cole would wake up, because Cole, unfortunately, got choked out by Joe, and I don't think he deserved it, but that's neither here nor there, at least for this segment. And he was like, you know, when he wakes up, telling Mr. Regal expects his decision. I thought we were going to get follow-up with that. But no, they really sold the shit out of it. Like, Cole was out the rest of the show. So I thought it would kind of end with Cole. But no, it just ended with Regal driving off, and it was a bit weird, just to say the least. So yeah, is there anything else you want to say?
That should be it. That should cover it.
All right, then. Let us get into our NXT review. We open up with a TakeOver In Your House recap. And then when it comes to the actual show, we open with William Regal's promo. William Regal's fucking king shit. I mean, the dude is so fucking good. He really spoke from the heart here because he has been a part of NXT for such a long time. Really, since, like he said, since the beginning. You know, working with Triple H, recruiting the talent, everything else. And he's crying, and the fans are giving him the respect, and he's feeding off the crowd, and just a great babyface atmosphere. It doesn't feel contrived; it feels 100% sincere. And then Cross's music hits, and I audibly groaned when this happened. I think I even said to my screen because I had my my bath running because I was kind of multitasking. I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me! Because I was really waiting for Regal to finish, but then Cross is like, Regal, are you crying again with this faux? Projecting this image of he's really just like a high school bully. And this segment, I will say this, and I don't know whether to give NXT credit or not because I think the jury's still out. I feel like this segment was NXT's kind of answer to us, yeah, Cross is a heel. Because he was one of those guys that I think his status was a bit ambiguous, but you've got to be 100% heel to me to do a segment like this, but maybe they'll flip it next week. You don't fucking know with them. But he clearly was 100% heel tonight because he's throwing it back in Regal's face. He's saying, you're pathetic. This and that, and I told you lost control, and you knew that I was the only one that could bring in control after I punched a hole through Mount Rushmore at TakeOver. So, say that Cross was right, say that I'm in control, all this stuff. And then Joe's music hits, and the first words out of my mouth there were, okay, so they did sign him, because I was hearing those rumors that WWE re-nabbed him up. You got to wonder how many other talents they're going to do that with. If Alistair's going to be next, and I have to imagine Braun Strowman's going to be next. I honestly don't see Braun Strowman going anywhere else. I've always kind of seen him as a WWE lifer, but again, that's a separate topic. They get Joe back. He returns, big pop from the crowd. And Joe's like, Mr. Regal, you wanted to talk to me. And he's like, yeah, Joe, but I wanted to do it more privately, whatever. And Regal initially wanted to give the reins to Joe to be GM. Now, I still would have kind of complained about this. I love Joe as much as the next guy. I think that's well documented on the show. But I've loved Regal as authority figure. He's a muted presence, doesn't make it about himself, and he carries an air of dignity that, again, isn't contrived. Everything comes very naturally with him. And Joe, probably thinking with the rest of us, says no, absolutely not. And I think he sums it up well. He's like, you cast a large shadow, and those are big shoes to fill that I know I can't fill. But I want to help you out because I know I gave you a hard time while I was here, but I always showed you respect. And I'm going to make sure that everybody gives you the respect that you deserve, which only begs the question, why are you still in this ring? And he looks at Cross, and he tells him, tick-tock, young champion. And Cross backpedals. Now, here's the thing, and we've always got to be honest when we're going to talk about trash on this program. This, you could argue, maybe not as bad, and I would tentatively make that argument given the things against both people, but it's still the same general sentiment. This is Velveteen Dream all over again, in the sense that people know that Cross is being turned on, maybe because they know about his ideological views, maybe something else, and they're just going to use that heat to get the babyface's bigger pops. I'd rather he not be platformed at all, same way as Dream when they tried to turn him heel, but I've come to accept, and I think you have too, however wearily, that they're going to get mileage out of every piece that they've got, and this is them getting their mileage out of Cross. I'm happy to see Joe. I think he's a great dude. I think WWE, even if he wants to wrestle, because I also heard the rumors that, Joe probably accepted the deal because he knew that, nobody was going to clear him, which is a bit concerning. But he's got the Stone Cold deal. Because when Regal explained the conditions of, you can't be a competitor, and you can't put your hands on the talent unless physically provoked. I'm like, they're running it back, Stone Cold Steve Austin, 2003, 2004, that whole period. And it's a good fit for him. I think WWE would have been foolish to let Joe go permanently. I think as a talker, he's still one of the best in the business, even if he can't get physical always. And the way he did get physical tonight with Cole was fucking gold. And honestly, WWE's got it in their back pocket because if he can pull a Bryan and get cleared, they've already got a story told of everybody that's like antagonized him or he's confronted or whatever. They've done it with Cross, and they even did it later in the show with Pete Dunne. So you win either way, because either he doesn't get cleared and he's got a great role, or he does and you've got stories in your back pocket. So given all of that, I'm going to hand the reins over to you. How did you feel about just everything? And I would like you to specifically go into Joe's return and how you feel about this role in the company for him.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really unfortunate that he's unable to participate in matches anymore and actually like compete in the ring. I know he loves doing that, and I love watching him do that, but I think, honestly, us being able to still get to see him be Samoa Joe and be intimidating and talk his shit is the best consolation prize that I could possibly imagine. And that's exactly what he's going to get to do in this role. We even got to see him lock Adam Cole and Hook in a clutch tonight. That was awesome.
Yeah, I love Adam Cole, and I feel like we're close to getting Javaris to the Cult of Cole, and hope may not be lost on that front. We'll get to that later, but he went limp real quick. Like, it was just done. He was so, like, had so much vitality and energy, like, fuck you, O'Reilly, and Regal, I shouldn't even be doing this, and Cole's like, and Joe's just like, you know what, I'm over it. Chokes him out, and he just goes limp so quick. I was like, oh, God. But no, it was great. I mean, look, I could be cynical. A lot of wrestling has left me very jaded. I've been very forthcoming with you guys about my feelings about pro wrestling as an industry lately, save for that one pocket of sunshine known as Stardom, which tune in tomorrow, guys. We're going to be reacting to their big Tokyo Dream Cinderella show. It's going to be fucking amazing. Yeah, I think this is wonderful for Joe. I'm happy about it. Great to see Cross backpedal, but again, I know what they're doing. We've seen it before, again, exactly with Velveteen Dream. Except, obviously, they're going to do this even more because Cross is the fucking world champion. But we get this, and Regal's not leaving, and honestly, that's all I could really ask for. So, here's the thing. I really tried to keep notes in order, so I would just like to talk about this now. This way, even if everything else was out of order, we don't even have to talk about it because we already addressed it here. I had a lot of people tell me that the first battery vignette came after the Cross Regal Joe segment. When I was recapping on Watch Wrestling, like watching it in parts, I saw the first one as before Escobar's segment. So, I don't know. Let's just talk about the battery charging thing now before we get to GYV's promo. Who do you think it is, man? I want to know from you. Do you have any guesses about who this could signify?
We're talking about the battery?
The battery, yeah. Who do you think it is?
I actually really like Chiefin's guess. He posted this in the live wrestling discussion channel on our Discord server. He thinks it's Ridge Holland. I love that guess.
Interesting. Okay, first of all, guys, if you're not a part of the Discord, $3 a month. Check it out below on the TWitWoW Patreon. And thank you, Chiefin, for participating. Like I say, great community. I saw two guesses on Twitter, and I was met on both. One was Tegan Knox.
Because
it's been a minute since we've seen her. Yep. But I was met on it because I'm just going to be truthful with everybody. I'm not really high on Tegan Knox as a talent. I don't know if it's just the injuries have really limited her, which is bound to happen. But I just feel disconnected with her at present.
I kind of forgot she existed, personally.
Yeah. The second guess, which makes no sense to me, but the only reason I'm even bringing it up, dude, and let's be real, it's WWE. You and I both know they don't even know what they want, right? Second guess was Roderick Strong. And I personally don't see it.
It's not Roderick Strong.
I will say this, though, just to cover our bases and to know that we covered our bases on the podcast. If it is, I almost like it because we do call him the Energizer Bunny of pro wrestling, and so like a battery would be a perfect symbol for him, but it makes no sense. It makes no sense. He handed his walking papers into Regal, so you can't just walk back and be like, oh, I changed my mind. But again, I can see it because, dude, we haven't heard anything from him for Raw or SmackDown. Now, here's the thing. I still don't think it's Roderick because I think they're going to save him for the draft or whatever. I think he's going to be a big part of like Superstars moving pieces after SummerSlam. That's my hope for Roderick. But yeah, those were the two guesses I saw were Tegan Knox and Roderick Strong. And you said Chiefin saw Rich Holland, and you really like that one. I will say, man, I like it though. I like that we're getting this new blood or even just old blood returning in NXT. I did say on Twitter that if it is Tegan or Roddy, I'm curious, but not necessarily enthused because again, I'm met on one and just scratching my head at the other. Rich Holland though would be interesting because Pat McAfee's no longer around, right? And Undisputed Era is disintegrated. So what capacity does he return in?
I mean, really, Ridge Holland, when he was around, he didn't actually have anything to do with Pat McAfee. It was only after he got injured that we found out that McAfee hired him to take Cole out. So really, prior to that, we had no knowledge of him being related with McAfee at all. And really, you got to remember, too, the match that he got injured in was against Oney Lorcan, who ended up being in McAfee's faction then.
Yeah.
So really, I think Holland picks up right where he left off and maybe even makes a beeline for Cross.
So you think he could even come back as a babyface in that case? I mean, maybe not necessarily because we know how they're playing Cross, but...
I would understand it if they would want to bring him back as a heel and have him kind of go on that monster heel run that they kind of already had him geared up to do. But I don't know, man. I think he's likable. I think there's kind of a freak athlete aspect that you want to cheer for, you know? But yeah, why is Ridge Holland returning? Dude, there's no... Why would anyone be represented by a battery? Roderick Strong... being the Energizer Bunny is a nickname that we gave him. That's not something that anyone on NXT has ever acknowledged him as. Like, that's not a thing.
I just think a battery... I did think a battery was somebody that was injured, and then you're at 100%, like a battery that's fully charged.
Right there, exactly. That's why the Tegan Nox thing, it has me more concerned that it's her. You and I are both not big fans of Tegan Nox. We cannot stand her in-ring psychology. We hate it when she does a move that she's never won a match with in her life, and they kick out of it, and she looks more stunned than she would be if her dead relative came back to life and haunted her. And yeah, but the idea of the battery filling up is definitely like, oh, someone's coming back from injury in my mind, which is why I immediately latched on to Chiefin's speculation that it would be Ridge Holland, because literally, dude, you got to remember. His knee got blown the fuck up, but that was a year ago. The estimation was like, I believe it was like 9 to 12 months. It's been like 12 months basically. So he could definitely be ready to come back. Tegan, I don't know anything about her timetable, but it feels like it's been long enough since we've seen her that she could be due back right now as well. I could buy into either one of those. And I would be much more excited about the Ridge Holland possibility than I would be about Tegan Nox. But depending on the packaging, either one of them could hook me.
Yeah, I'm excited about Ridge Holland. I remember him being a bit explosive in the ring, and not necessarily in a good way, because I haven't forgotten the Johnny Gargano spot where we were afraid that Johnny broke his neck.
Yeah.
So I want Ridge to be safe in there, but if he... Here's the thing, though, guys.
If I remember correctly, that was on a Snap Power Slam, and he's done multiple of those since then, and they've all looked clean as hell. It's like he realized he fucked up, and he worked to improve it, and he fixed it.
Yeah, because I was even going to say, I am a fair guy. I'm not going to, hold that against him for, his whole career or whatever. I'm just going to say, if he does tighten up the offense, you got a star there. I mean, he has a great look. I agree with everything you said. Great look, great presence.
It's funny because everyone keeps talking about this fucking new kid that came in that Paul Heyman called the new next Brock Lesnar, but to me, Ridge Holland could literally be the next Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I think Paul Heyman likes to talk out of his ass to hype people up that he has no fucking clue about, because the dude that he hyped up that he said was the next Brock Lesnar can't fucking move. He's a fucking board. He's a power lifter. He's about as athletic as John Cena in the sense that he's big and strong and stiff, and he's not very flexible, and he can't jump very high and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, what was I going to say? Do you feel like Great American Bash is going to be their arrival? That they're building this up for a Great American Bash kind of return?
I mean, we got 3 updates tonight. It went 1%, 11%, 21%. So if we maintain that pace, then we'll get 31%, 41, 51 next week, 61, 71, 81 the following week, and then a Great American Bash, we would get 91% and then 100%. So it would make sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't wait. I think that's honestly what I'm most hyped for right now about Great American Bash. And now I am more enthused because after this conversation, because if it is Ridge Holland, I'm far more excited about that than Tegan Nox. So I'm ready to fucking go with that. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that because, I heard one thing about when the first vignette dropped. But then I kind of just did my own looking through. It seemed like it appeared another time, but maybe then again it would have been the 11% one. I don't fucking know. So I just want to talk about all these and really just what it means in general right here. This way the rest just doesn't matter. So we get GYV, their promo. I like how they talk about where they grew up. It was a working class area, so of course Ciampa and Thatcher would look down on them. We heard your words, we heard your trash talk, and tonight they're going to go out and they're going to prove it in the Tornado Tag. They're soon to be recognized as the greatest tag team and future tag team champions.
Man, I'm so goddamn sick of GYV being this entertaining and not being able to actually win any goddamn matches.
Normally I'm here for you being right, for just the memes and the joking, but then other times it really hurts. It really hurts, and this is definitely one of those.
It hurts me too, man. It hurts me too. I would rather be wrong in this case. I would rather you be like, what are you talking about? They just won like a week ago. And I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm overreacting. It's recency bias. But no, they just fucking don't win.
This is actually something I forgot to... see, and this is a weird thing. Okay, so we get Imperium versus Breezango.
Oh,
I love Breezango, and
shit.
Yeah, boring as shit for one. I gotta give props to Beth Phoenix, actually, for a moment, because I understand Wade's doing his job. That's why I'm saying I like the Wade and Beth dynamic, because he's talking about how, like, with Imperium, the mat is sacred, and gyrating your pelvis isn't respecting the mat. And Beth comes in and says, hey, Fandango was trained by Killer Kowalski, Tyler Breeze was trained by Lance Storm, so I like that she talked those guys up. I'm telling you guys.
I honestly didn't know that Fandango was trained by Killer Kowalski. That's insane. Killer Kowalski trained Triple H, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. And, kudos to Beth for bringing that up. And kudos to Wade, though, for giving her the setup. I'm telling you guys, they have an underrated kind of dynamic at the desk. I think they play off each other really well. I think I said it on one podcast.
Do their best to ignore Vic.
I mean, and they should. I think it works, because I think I even said on a past podcast, I really feel like Wade has brought out the best in Beth, and he's made her more comfortable and kind of find her orientation behind the desk. I'm cool with it.
It seems like Beth, especially, is super beloved backstage. Like, even just the way that Regal addressed her on commentary when he mentioned himself having been on commentary, it just seems like she's really, really well liked in NXT. It's pretty cool to see.
Yeah. Foster, I specifically remember Wade gyrating with New Day. You can't talk about that. I remember that too.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
He was so into it too. I distinctly remember that. And then
that was when he was bad news bearer, right?
Yeah, and then Sheamus was like, "That's right, my brothers, and it's time to get
jiggy on these posers."
Underrated fucking segment. Underrated fucking segment. God. Actually, I should say underrated fucking interaction, because I think that was when they come out. Yeah, their entrance for a match. But anyway, here's my problem with this. And I think I even said this about another talent before, but for the life of me, I can't remember who I said this about. I really don't care about Imperium. I've said this before. What I care about, though, is stories being told in a way that's interesting, even if it's with people that I don't like. I may be biased, but I think I'm big enough on this podcast to admit when I'm biased. What the fuck are we doing here? Breezango wins with a cradle, and I'm serious. If I'm Walter, I'm kicking them the fuck out. Because they beat Breezango down, and they draped the Imperium flag, and whatever, but I'm like, you lost, though. Walter told you to take care of it, and I don't think a post-match beatdown is taking care of it. If I'm Walter, who, in the words of Fandango, has been Germany champion for so many years.
3 years.
3 years. Still think he said no, but either way, it's a long-ass fucking time. I'm kicking him out. And I'm saying I'm fucking Imperium now. I'm Imperium now. Because you guys suck. You're not getting the job done. You lost again. You're done. You're done. If he keeps him on after this, I'm not saying it makes Walter look bad, mainly because I know what checks I can't cash, but it is a bit questionable, right? It is a bit questionable. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Because I swear, if it's a confidence issue, have you seen you? You don't need these guys to make yourself look better. You're motherfucking Walter.
Yeah.
I don't understand what we're doing here.
I feel like we've been missing Walter for quite a while.
I've been missing Walter, period. And another thing that undercuts this, and again, I just have to be honest, and I love Breezango, and I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way, because it's not about them, it's about everything surrounding them. They lost a match, a week or two ago or something, and there was a story that, you could see, it was to MSK. It was to fucking MSK, and it was you could see the frustration mounting, Breezango thinking, maybe a change has to come for Breezango. Nothing had to change, because they won tonight.
Yeah.
If they would have lost to Imperium, you would have furthered two stories. You would have furthered Imperium getting their head out of their ass, and Walter being like, "That's the fucking Imperium I want. That's the fucking Imperium I lead."
Clearly excommunicating Wolf was the real correct answer. Like, we trimmed the fat. We're good now.
Exactly, Ashton. I feel like it undercuts that as well. Like, I love Breezango. I still kind of want to see both these guys do a singles run, honestly. I'm kind of getting a little sick of the tag.
Can I also just say, like, bringing back the points that you were making about Barrett and Beth on commentary, the fact that the guys that were goofing around beat the guys that say the mat is sacred with a wrestling move, you know, the roll-up, like it's like a technical wrestling thing, that's even worse for Imperium in my eyes.
That's a great point. I'm so glad you brought that up. Holy shit. Everything about this, I won't even say it was awful, because again, at least the team that I liked won. But it was wrong. It was. Dude, it wasn't awful.
It's so funny though, because like I didn't think about any of this, and you're just making so much sense.
Yeah, because like, dude, they undercut so many stories with one booking decision. Because now there's no reason to think Breezango is going to break up. Which, if you're like us, you know, and you're a fan of these guys, you'd like to see them maybe do
having a whole ass discussion talking about that.
Yeah. If you are a fan of Imperium, and I don't say that mockingly whatsoever, and you're like, oh man, they're going to be rebooted, the mat is sacred, they're going to out-wrestle everybody. Like, what are you doing?
There needs to be consequences for this L.
Yeah, I agree with Javaris, like, totally unironically. I know he can be a bit hyperbolic sometimes. I think that's why we gravitate, because I know I wrote the fucking book on being hyperbolic. But yeah, if I'm Walter, I'm murdering these fucking dudes. I'm the United Kingdom champion. I have had a vice grip on this fucking title. And you're out here losing to guys that dress up as fucking astronauts and actually are able to beat you with wrestling holds?
Yep.
Again, to your point, are you fucking serious? I hated that. I can't believe I forgot about this in the first segment, because this is actually the rant that I had inside of me. And it's such a shame, because it really isn't Breezango's fault. But I hated the booking of this. I absolutely hated the booking. I'm like, you have been dicking around with this fucking angle, with them potentially poaching other people, revamping, getting serious. Remember the vignettes? Remember the vignettes before they even started, like, poaching people? It was like, oh, you know, we're so great, Matt is sacred. You're losers. You're losers. You're a jobber tag team. Like, okay, now this is my hyperbole, and then I'm just going to let it rest. At this point with their booking, because keep in mind, they are quite distant from their tag title reign, I could believe Everrise beating them. Honest to God, I could believe Everrise beating this Imperium right now.
I could believe it. Yeah, it was like a fluke win for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, God. Paul's like, oh, you really feel. I'm sorry, Paul. I just had to get that all off my chest. I think I'm good now.
I love the extra emphasis of, please, John, don't sit on the fence.
Yeah. Javaris, this was supposed to be their reboot, and you know what? Imperium just needs to be scrapped, and Walter just needs to walk. They need to trim the fat,
man. They need to ditch Eichner and recruit Thatcher. Then we've got Walter, Thatcher, Bartel. That's a fucking Imperium I could get behind.
Oh my God, that's the only thing about this whole discourse that made me moist. Thank you. So
I didn't know you were dry prior to that.
With that said, we've got Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly brawling. Obligatory. Adam Cole was.
Mention. I just thought it was really funny. Foster said something about Ken Imperium just before Walters, which just reminds me that Tyler Breeze was the one that wanted cloning to exist so that he could just, you know, be with himself.
I know. Like. We know, like, anybody that is genuinely good, they know. Like, Walter's probably thinking, yeah, that's what needs to happen. Jesus. Yeah, Paul, sentiments exactly. But moving on from this, mercifully.
Cole O'Reilly.
Yeah, Cole O'Reilly, obligatory. Adam Cole was in the right statement. They're brawling, and it's a pull apart, and Regal says, all right, if even an unsanctioned match can't contain this, you guys are going to face off at Great American Bash in a singles match? Yeah, like, what? Okay, so real quick.
Isn't this exactly what happened with Ciampa and Gargano? They had an unsanctioned match, and then the following match that they had was just a regular up singles match?
Wasn't their next match like a...
I know they had like a 3 stages of hell somewhere in there, too.
Yeah, like, I know they had a last man standing match as well.
Yeah. Oh, no, the last man, you know what, 3 stages of hell was Cole Gargano, and that's my bad.
But I feel like the second one, the first one was unsanctioned, and Gargano won that. I know last man standing was when Ciampa was champion, and the title was on the line. The one in between, though, It had to have some step because remember the ending was Willow's bell on the wooden floor of the mat, like
That wasn't
tearing
just
up.
the unsanctioned match?
It wasn't because remember Gargano won that by doing the Gargano escape with the knee brace, or so I thought. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Maybe it was a street fight or something. But anyway, you can't do just
what
a
was the whole meme with the in the ring match thing? There was a whole meme where someone was like, "You're gonna face each other in an in the ring match," and we died laughing. I don't remember what that was from though.
I don't know. I wish I could remember
Maybe
though.
that was main roster bullshit, and that's why I'm remembering it.
Maybe. Fuck the main roster too.
So anyway, continue.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, Cole, rightfully angry, trying to point out that I shouldn't face Kyle. I should face Karrion Kross. I think that's what he was about to say. And then, because passions get heated, and we all do things sometimes, Cole inadvertently, and I emphasize that here, happened to, shove Samoa Joe in the heat of the moment. Now, Joe, being a very reasonable man, 98% of the time, decided, my first night back, I can lean into that 2%. And he choked Adam Cole out. Yeah, that was essentially it. He choked him out, and then he said, when he wakes up, you tell him Mr. Regal expects his decision, because Regal did say, and this is the important part, not only are they going to face off at Great American Bash in a few weeks, but that they each get to pick opponents that they want to face leading up to Great American Bash. So, what was that you said?
Next week.
So we know Kyle is facing Kushida, and we'll get to that later. We don't know who Cole's facing. Yeah, Javaris, I thought you'd say that, and I'm, in this case, I will sit on the fence. Cole should have read the room, but it was a very passionate, inadvertent shove, and Joe might have overreacted. That's all I'm going to say on that. Would you tell that
to Samoa Joe to his face? That he
dude, shut your face, because it's not about that, okay? I'm not trying to dig the hole any deeper than I need to, okay? So, let's cut the shit. So, after that, we got Kushida kind of wind backstage, because he's getting ready for a match. And then we get Santos Escobar spitting facts.
Whoa, did you just purr?
I did. And honestly, I regret, less than nothing. Yeah, exactly. He said that you just had to do it again, huh? You just had to squash me up against a wall, because I held the North American Championship, and I saw my reflection in it, and it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And as a man that has extensively and very thoroughly studied that jawline, no lies detected. I can believe it. I can believe that he saw that, and he thought it was like seeing God, because really, what's the difference? So, after his dreams got quickly dashed, because Bronson Reed just didn't think that he could just go to an IHOP for pancakes, he wanted to make them right there in the ring, he said, well, now I'm going to have you one-on-one, Bronson, and I'm going to pick you up, just like I did at TakeOver, and I'm going to let gravity do the rest, and then this reflection will become reality. So Ashton, beyond Santos being just absolute king tier, how do you feel about our soon-to-be North American World and just everything champion relying on science to help him win championships with the law of gravity? I'm sure that made you feel very addressed.
Very what?
Very addressed. I meant to say seen would be the better word. Very seen.
Yes, for sure. I mean, really, physics doesn't pick sides. So Santos, unfortunately, dealt with the result of gravity not going his way on Sunday, and we can just hope that he manages to shift the leverage just enough to get it to work in his favor the next time that he faces Reed.
That's right. See, essentially what you said in all of the splendor of your face is that even though physics doesn't pick sides on its own, like, if Santos just approaches it correctly, he can make physics be on his side.
Yes.
And I think he can. I mean,
we literally saw him do a fucking Michinoku driver to Reed on Sunday, so, like...
It's inevitable. I personally cannot wait to talk about our new North American champion, and to everybody that's like, but John, it's still so early in his reign. We don't do that here. We don't do that here. Okay,
that's not what I expected. I thought you were going to be like, but John, it's still so early in his reign. To that I say, so?
Yeah, exactly. We get Kushida versus Trey Baxter, formerly known as Blake Christian.
Yes.
Gets a vignette before the match.
Oh,
says,
cool.
He's all heart. And he's going to be the new Cruiserweight champion. And then we get the match. How did you feel about this, dude?
It was a fun match. It allowed Trey Baxter. It allowed Baxter to show his skills pretty well. He got a nice longer match here to be able to kind of show everyone what he's about. We got a 450 out of the springboard 450 that he does. We got a standing Spanish fly. It was really good. It allowed him to really do his stuff. It was nice to see. Kyle O'Reilly came out to observe the match, which I thought was just brilliant planning by Kyle, because naturally he's going to scout the cruiserweights because look who he's facing. So, yeah, he ends up choosing Kushida as his opponent next week.
Yeah, and Kushida, I think, has been far more tolerable and even at times entertaining since coming to NXT. So I actually am somewhat looking forward to this match. It should be interesting.
It's a brilliant prep because really, like, Adam and Kushida have a lot in common. They're both very technically sound. They both are capable of high-flying maneuvers. They both, maybe not so much submissions, but the striking game is definitely on point. And, of course, similar in stature.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you were on point with everything you just said there. No surprise to anybody. So
I feel like Adam is going to just grow the balls of steel and just pick Cross as his opponent next week.
Dude, I've been thinking the same fucking thing, dude. I think he wants to prove it to Cross. I'd fucking die though if he picked some jobber for his opponent.
That was the other option, dude. That was the other way that I was thinking he would pick, not literally Leon Ruff, but like a Leon Ruff Jace. Maybe even like a speedball Mike Bailey if they signed him without us knowing about it. Someone along those lines. Someone that's like a lesser known guy. Somebody maybe that's a little bit smaller that Adam thinks he's going to be able to pick on, but then they give him more of a fight than he prepared for.
Exactly. Yeah, dude, I could see it going either way, and I'd pop for either one because Cole just makes it work. He's just so good.
Yep.
Okay, so Frankie Monet already kind of touched on this in the opening segment.
She's so fucking good, dude. I love her so much.
She really embodies this character, and
dude, it's so good. It's perfect. It's almost disturbing how real her character is right now.
Yeah, I'm guessing you liked her actual interview, but I'm guessing this is more stemming from her interaction with the Robert Stone brand in the form of Aaliyah.
Yes, she walks up to Jesse and Aaliyah, and she's just like, "Oh, hey, girls, I saw your match on TakeOver. Good job, good job. It seems like you almost had it won until Robert Stone got involved." And they give her a look like, "Yeah, that guy." And then Stone shows up, and she's just like, "Oh, hey, Robert, it's good to see you. I was just telling your girls how great they looked on Sunday, and it seems like they almost had the match won, but man, they just need to listen to you more."
I cannot wait to call her our NXT Women's Champion.
Dude, she needs to be next in line. She's so good.
She really is, because she can get that kind of heel heat that I think is just so superior to I'm big and scary and unstoppable kind of thing, because she actually has a personality. It's amazing to me. Speaking of the women's division, we get a Mercedes Martinez promo after this, more or less saying, Tian Shaw, I ain't done with you, and I think Mei Ying, well, really, when I said Tian Shaw, I just meant the group, but yeah, Mei Ying is the name of the leader, and yeah, gonna come for her. I think she's gonna come for Zaya. I don't think she's done with Zaya either. And Mercedes, yeah, I loved her segment at TakeOver. I think it was one of the best parts of the show. So I'm curious to see where this goes, and if it ends with the Mercedes versus Mei Ying matchup, I think we all kind of win here, personally. So we'll see what happens.
Dude, I hate to backtrack, but my mom literally just said, from a female point of view, she's really annoying. It's just so perfect. Frankie embodies a woman that anybody who's ever worked in any kind of environment where they have, intersex, intergender coworkers, where they have men and women that they're working with. Doesn't really matter. If it's all women, if it's all men, it don't matter. If it's mixed, it really doesn't matter. Every workplace has somebody like this. And usually it's a fucking manager too. Every workplace has somebody that will praise you to your face and talk shit about you behind your back. Everywhere. Everyone knows someone like this.
It's very true. And again, the way she embodies the character, a lot like Regal, but in a heel way rather than in a babyface way. Nothing feels contrived with her. No. It all just feels like it comes so easily to her.
It just feels like that's who she is. There's some very serious House of Cards shit going on here, and I love it.
I love it too, man. So that was Frankie. Already talked about Mercedes. We already talked about the $1 Million Championship coronation. Just really happy that this completes Cameron Grimes' babyface turn. After that, we get Dakota and Raquel backstage. They more or less warn the champions, Candice and Indy, that they're going to be coming for the titles for a second time. Then as they're making their way to the ring, they do confront Shotzi and Ember again, but of course with Joe there, nobody's going to try any fucking shit this time. Then we get Dakota and Raquel versus Casey and Kaden. Fun match.
Are we just skipping the LA Knight shit?
Well, yeah, because that was $1 Million Championship coronation, right? That happened after the Mercedes Martinez promo, and I said we already talked about it.
Right.
So,
okay. All right, cool. Let's get into the match then. Yeah. Can I just say, I like Kaden Carter? It's Kaden Carter, right?
Yeah.
I like her. I think that she could probably be on like the same level as like a Shotzi Blackheart from like a credibility, power level, like placement on the card kind of thing standpoint. I don't like Casey. And I don't like them as a tag team, honestly. I don't like them as a tag team. I don't like how, like, I don't want to say arrogant, but I don't like how confident these two little, like, 4'11" girls are that they're going to beat the ass of someone like Raquel Gonzalez. Like, it's absurd to me.
Right. I actually liked how Kaden moved in the ring here tonight.
Yeah,
she got some kicks on Dakota.
She's actually just good. I like her a lot.
Yeah, I feel like her and Shotzi both, like, I don't know if NXT's ever going to pivot in this direction, because we're just in an era where it's like, no, we're just going to go out and we're going to buy our next women's champions. Yeah. But, like, I feel like if
We're
Shotzi...
also in an era where it's like, next man up is from, like, 6 years ago. Like, Raquel's been around for fucking ever, and only now is she getting spotlight. So, you never know who they're going to pull out of their asses next.
Right, and I feel like, and this especially applies to Shotzi, but I could see it with Kaden as well if they really took the time with her. If these women never really get, like, not even just an NXT Women's Championship run, and again, I emphasize Shotzi in that regard, but even, like, brushing shoulders in that scene, I think it's a waste, man. I'll always say that that's when I loved NXT best, was when you took these people that you thought, well, could they be champion, or it's ever going to happen for them, and then it does happen for them, like... I don't know. The last time I could think of it was one of the most beautiful moments in a babyface Bayley, because I didn't really know, honestly, like, was she going to win the title or not. Turned out to be one of the biggest moments in its history. I see some more potential in Shotzi, and she's kind of stuck in this tag team, and I hate to say stuck because I love Ember too. And then Kaden, I really like the stuff she did in this match tonight. And speaking of giving people praise, I just want to say that I went out of my way on my Twitter to praise Dakota Kai. And I'm just going to read my tweet verbatim because that's the best review I can give of her in this match. I said, every women's division that aspires to be legitimate should have a Dakota Kai on their roster. Mm-hmm. She's so good and so constant in her performance. She's someone you build a division around, whether as a top champion or enhancement talent. She can do it all. And I believe it.
It's funny you say that, because while this match was happening, I literally just had a very similar thought of just like, God, Dakota Kai is such a fucking professional. I love her.
She really is. Dude, she makes everybody look so good. Yeah. And I guess the only thing,
she's what people are talking about when they say that someone is a consummate pro. That's Dakota.
Exactly. 100%. 100% agree with you. Full stop. Raquel, obviously.
If they ever decided to actually get behind her, she could be a great champion, too.
Oh, my God, dude. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Especially as a babyface. I think she could be another Bayley in the wings if they really wanted to get behind her. But
yeah,
I don't see that ever happening because, they've had plenty of opportunities and have passed on them every single time intentionally.
Yeah, the only thing that gives me some confidence is something you actually said only a few moments ago, that the next person up is just somebody that's already been, like, around the block quite a bit, because Dakota's been with NXT for a good while. I don't know.
And to be fair, though, Raquel was kind of hiding. Like, she was kind of being kept off TV until they were ready to really push her. Whereas with Dakota, she's just been around eating L's her pretty much entire career in NXT.
Yeah. I really do hope she gets...
kind of a different situation there.
Yeah, I really do hope she gets a title run one of these days, but I'm not holding my breath on it. But yeah, she gets the GTK, the go-to kick. Yep. I believe she got this on Casey and gets the win. So, they're kind of staking their claim.
My favorite member of this match beating my... Well, we'll say second least favorite member, because Raquel's still worse.
Well, yeah, let's just hope that Dakota knocks some sense into the diminutive dumbass. I still haven't forgotten her going around not masked and all that shit in a fucking pandemic. So that was that. We then get Everrise, and apparently their pre-show set got torn up by Hit Row, who, again, I'll actually give them Adam Cole privileges. Job, I'm just going to say, well, yeah, good job, Hit Row. You're right there. And I'm just going to say they were in the right. Every time. Yeah. Every time, just like Adam Cole. I'm
also just going to add in, Everrise were annoying again tonight, and I don't like them anymore.
Yeah. You know what? I wasn't annoyed by them here because they're very, a lot like Regal, albeit in a different way. They're also kind of muted because they don't really get a lot of screen time, and they've got their own series that I don't watch.
The so Matt I can Jackson looking one annoyed the shit out of me tonight with his stupid fake Dutch accent.
Yeah, that was, ugh. But, yeah, apparently Hit Row's going to face...
I think the Chuck Taylor one actually kind of gets, like, almost like under my funny bone the way Chuck himself does sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, it's been a minute since I've seen anything Chuck Taylor, because they're on AEW still, right? Yeah. God.
Best friends.
Yeah. But Hit Row is going to face Everrise next week. So, go Hit Row. Don't stop until you get...
Go Hit Row. Fucking kill him.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I've said twice now on Twitter.
Top Dollar should end that match in 30 seconds by himself.
He should. He should. And it's like I've been saying on Twitter at least twice now. I want Hit Row to take all the gold that they want and all the gold that NXT's got. Just, it's that fucking simple. So, maul them all down, show no mercy, get it done. Then, and I'm going to give you the reins on this, because I'm actually really curious what you think about all this, because you have been standing this woman from day fucking one. Io Shirai is back in the mix. How did you feel about her segment here?
Oh, man. Well, it's great to see her back, and it's great to hear her talk, and it's really cool that she's gotten so good at English that she can really express her feelings in front of a crowd like this. She did get interrupted by Candice LeRae, and then you eventually attacked from behind by Indy Hartwell. I gotta tell you, man, again, why are Zoe Stark and Io Shirai best friends in kayfabe? I don't understand this.
I was conflicted about this, dude. Because okay, so here's my thought process. Actually, before I even get into my thought process,
before?
Oh wait, hold on.
What?
Headphones had problems there, so you kind of cut out for me a little bit there. What did you say?
I just wanted to say something before you talk about what you're about to talk about.
Oh no, of course, dude. Floor's yours.
So I do want to say the Zoe Stark thing. I don't, I ignoring that it's Zoe Stark and my feelings about her getting pushed the way she does. I'm glad that NXT didn't just say, let's stick the Japanese girl with the Japanese girl and have it be Sarai. That's a very Vince trope, and I'm glad that they subverted that trope. So that's cool. But, God, again, I say, why are Zoe Stark and Io Shirai suddenly best friends? I don't get it. Anyway, now go ahead.
No, you actually took the words right out of my mouth because I was going to give them credit for the exact same thing. Because I was about to say, here's my thought process, and that was my thought process. I'm glad that the Japanese women didn't get stuck together.
Oh, shit.
So yeah, you did perfect there. I'm also a bit perplexed. I think it's a good way to give Zoe a rub, and honestly, at this point, because Io had such a dominant title run, I'm not even opposed to her working with people to give them rubs at this point. I don't want it to last too long because I think Io still has a lot to accomplish. If they knew how to use Japanese wrestlers, because honestly, if they did, Io is totally capable of main eventing a night of WrestleMania if they kept it to 2 nights. It's just the kind of potential I see in Io. I'll also say before I forget, I was living. I don't know what it is with her, Shinsuke, and Asuka, because I think they're all so good at this in their own ways. Her facial expressions had me dying, dude. When Candice's music hit and Io just rolled her eyes, her face
yes, she really did have that. This bitch, look on her.
Yes, dude, 100%.
And then it went from this bitch to, oh, okay, you want to fight? Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, dude, I love that too. How she's like, okay, this is happening. I hate it, but it's happening. She threw the mic, and
she's like, let's fucking go.
Yeah, let's do it, dude. Oh, God, I wish we had somebody that understood that it doesn't matter if, because I think they're finally getting it slowly with the black superstars to the point where I think that's another reason. I know this is completely off topic, but just bear with me. That's why I am a bit excited about Gabe Steveson, because he is coming at a time when we've had Kofi Mania and now we're having Bobby Lashley, and even though she's a woman like Bianca Belair and Sasha, so I should say women, just main evented night one of Mania, if there was ever a time to be like a non-white superstar in WWE, I think you're coming in at a I won't say the best time, but a better time. Possibly.
It's Gable Steveson.
It's I thought it was Gabe. God damn it, Gable Steveson. But anyway, you know what I'm fucking trying to say.
Yes.
It is a better time to be a person of color like superstar in WWE, and so I'm excited for him. But I just feel like the Japanese talent is the one group that they don't get like as right as they should. And I feel like they're trying to course correct with that because you see that they're doing something with Shinsuke and Asuka. Like I don't want Asuka to like. I think she does deserve the world, but I don't want her to be given the title like all the time. I just wish that when she was champion, they would take her more seriously as a champion. I feel like they always turn the heat up on her when she's like not the champion and is more just a contender. But like, yeah, I don't know. It's a weird place for them. I feel like in some ways they're getting better, particularly as it relates to the black superstars. But then when it comes to the Japanese superstars, it's like we're still kind of lagging a bit because you're getting all the great pieces. I don't know if you're maximizing the utility you've got under your belt here. So yeah, I don't know. I think I like what Io's doing now. It's a bit perplexing that it's Zoe Stark. In a way, I'm excited for Io to go to the main roster, but in another way, I'm not. Because I'm like, I don't think it's what it could be because it's fucking Io. But yeah, her and Zoe are a tag team. You almost have to wonder if they're going to take the scenic route with Io and it doesn't work with Zoe and then she goes to Sarai.
Oh.
But I don't know. I mean, what do you think about that? Do you think that's possible?
Yeah, it's possible. It's actually a concern that I had too. So I don't know, man. I'm not a big fan of either of those tag teams. I mean, if you put me on the spot and tell me to name who Io's partner should be right now, I wouldn't be able to do it. But I'm just, I feel like I want something a little bit different. And her teaming with Zoe Stark is different, but it's like not in that way. It's like I just don't get NXT's fascination with Zoe Stark. Like as a talent, she's okay. Like she's not bad by any means, but she's also not really anything that I would write home about, which is what just kind of confounds me as far as why she always gets put in these weird, like higher than she should be spots.
One more point I want to make, and it's just John being a bitter little bitch. I will admit to being a bit jaded seeing this segment because I'm like, if they seriously put the tag titles on either Io and Zoe Stark or Io and Sarai, it just makes me think that we never got Sky Pirates as tag team champions. And I'm always going to feel a bit robbed about that. So, watching that segment, I'm like, man, I'd give anything for Kairi to be the one to make the save, but we all know that's not happening. And
she's not even in the U.S., I don't think. She's probably still in Japan.
Yeah, she's not even in the U.S. right now. Which, I mean, hey, she's living her best life. That's all that matters.
Japan, I read the other week that Io and Evil are no longer a thing. I don't know.
Oh, wow, what?
I don't know.
Hey, well, it is what it is. But, yeah, I was watching that, and I'm like, fuck, I miss Sky Pirates. And I really miss Kairi. But it is what it is. I'm just glad that Io's back in the mix, one of the best in the world. And, yeah, if she wants to pull an Adam Cole and just stay there for a few years, honestly, how much complaining could I really do given WWE's track record with Japanese talent on the main roster?
Right? Like, at that point, I feel like she's just looking out for herself because she's seen what happened with Kairi on the main roster.
Exactly. And then maybe, when she feels like what she's done with the NXT, maybe she'd even want to go back to Stardom and help him out.
You know what I could imagine Io even doing? Like,
what's that?
It's like an intentional career move. Waiting until Asuka retires to go up to the main roster.
That is interesting because Asuka is a bit on the older side. And how old is Io?
Io, I think, Io's younger than Kairi, believe it or not.
Yeah, that is believable. I think
Io
I did know that.
31. Io is 31. Asuka is 39, I think. Yeah, she's 39. She turns 40 this year.
So Asuka retiring may not be far off. That Io could still give some quality years.
That's
to take
what I'm saying.
spot.
I think Io is going to stay in NXT, and really, I think that this could be a conscious decision by her from a business standpoint. Stay in NXT until Asuka retires, then go up to the main roster. Even if you have like a few months in between Asuka's retirement and Io showing up, or even if maybe there's a little bit of overlap for Asuka to kind of hand the baton off, past the passing of the guard, pass the torch kind of thing. I could actually see that happening because I think Io probably understands that if she goes to the main roster, they aren't going to do anything with her that doesn't also involve Asuka. She's always going to be either feuding with Asuka or in a team with Asuka because they don't know how to handle more than one Japanese woman being on their roster at the same time.
Yeah, and if anything, like the only interaction should be Asuka's retirement match against Io. You pass the baton.
That would be perfect.
There it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And maybe not the only interaction, but maybe Io goes up, immediately targets Asuka, and it leads to an Asuka's retirement match, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you build it up, obviously.
Right.
But yeah, when I say interaction, I mean just like, yeah, big thing.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you. I think you're on point there. So, I don't know what the future...
Frankly, I hope that doesn't happen for another couple of years, because I do love Asuka. I don't want her going anywhere, but... we've got to kind of talk about, we've got to kind of address the elephant in the room, which, like I just said, Asuka's turning 40 this year. Now, granted, Meiko Satomura is doing damn well in NXT UK. She just won the NXT UK Women's Championship from Kaylee Ray, and she's in her 40s. So I'm not trying to say that women can't wrestle in their 40s. I'm just saying it's not common. It's very uncommon.
Right. And really, just to go back to the EO point, look, we know that wrestlers aren't going to form a union anytime soon, if ever. It makes me sad, but it's the truth. Yeah. And this and that. The most we can ask for is that talent, even if it does cost them their job, because you know what I'm starting to realize, especially now as we're slowly coming out of the pandemic, it may be worth losing a job at one place if you protect your value overall. Yeah. Because, like, if you can say, hey, I appeared on WWE TV and I never allowed myself to look ridiculous unless I knew for a fact that a bigger push was coming at the end, Io is protecting her brand. This was a woman that came into the company under the banner of best women's wrestler in the world, if not one of the best wrestlers in the world, period. I'm not going to give that up once. The
first goal that NXT had was to disprove that moniker. They were like,
exactly.
She calls herself the best women's wrestler in the world, but look at all of these women on our roster that she's losing to.
It took her so long to win the title and everything, which, fine, whatever, because then she had the dominant title run. But, like, no, if I'm Io, I'm surveying the situation, I'm like, I've got a pretty good deal here, because finally they're just acknowledging me as, like, the woman. Like, it's a big deal for Zoe to be tagging with me. Hell, it's a big deal, all due respect to Candice and everything, to be in a program with me. I like Candice. I like Indy, but they never got talked about the way that Io got talked about in Japan. I never heard that, ever. So, Io's reputation when she came to this company was transcendent, and you're goddamn right I'm looking after my value. You didn't build this. I built this night after fucking night. And, like, I'm going to keep protecting it. Fuck you. So, whatever Io wants to do, I support her 1,000%. Because these people, again, if they're not going to form a union and they're not going to go after that shit, the least you can do is protect your own personal brand. And say either, no, I'm not doing this. No, I'd feel comfortable here. And then if they cut you, you know what? That means you can up your asking price elsewhere. I was on WWE TV. I did this. I know what I'm worth. And AEW seems happy to pay as much as I don't like AEW. I mean, fucking Andrade got his deal now, so we'll see what fucking happens. But anyway, moving on from that, we get the weird Regal and Joe segment that gets cut off. Then we get MSK and Boomers. We get the other battery vignette, and again, we'll just move past all that. We confirmed Diamond Mine next week. Gable Steveson, I hope, is behind this, and he will fucking dominate. 21 years old. Oh my God, stacked out the ass. I am really fucking hoping it's this dude. Honestly, if I knew for a fact it was, I'd almost want to live react to that segment, because I think you guys would enjoy hearing me pop. But,
how would you feel, John, if this was a Malcolm Bivens production and it was Tyler Rust, the Diamond in the Rust, alongside Gable Steveson as a tag team?
I'd be okay with it, because I feel like it'd be a rare instance of a tag team making two quality singles competitors and not just one. Yeah. Like, I honestly, I know viscerally in the moment I'd be like, no, fuck that. I want to see, Gable Steveson just ragdoll everybody. And I do.
Too, there's a part of me that almost thinks that the Diamond Mine thing could be Ridge Holland, and then the battery thing is Tegan. Like, I think that could be a thing too. Like, we could be looking at both of them returning, and that Ridge has just been under our noses the whole time, and we didn't realize it.
Maybe. I just feel like the tone of the Diamond Mine vignette and everything, it just seems like, it doesn't seem like Ridge with the vignettes he got before he got hurt. I don't know. I feel a disconnect.
So it would be
there.
A different character, right?
Yeah, but
like... Maybe the same name, like maybe they'd still call him Ridge Holland, but it would be a complete shift in who he is as Ridge Holland.
Yeah. I will say, though, like, if it is a Bivens production...
Yeah,
we stand Malcolm Bivens in this household. Whatever my aspirations are, whatever my dreams are, Malcolm Bivens, now granted, he did promise that we'd watch Scooby-Doo WrestleMania Mysteries, and then he bailed, so what are you, Malcolm, my father? But that's issues to address far away from the podcast in less than a year's time, hopefully. So, besides that, I'll take that up with Malcolm personally another time. He's great. I fucking love Malcolm. And Tyler Rust, look, even though Swerve, by all accounts, should be the next North American champion, because I am fucking manifesting it with every pore of my being, if it isn't him, I'd like it to be Tyler Rust. Like, Tyler Rust is 2B to me. Or 1B, I should say, because 1A is fucking Swerve, and then 1B is fucking Tyler Rust for next North American champion. So, yeah, I'd be cool with these guys being back on my TV, but if it's the new Gable, because we've already got Chad Gable on SmackDown, I'm fucking here for that too, because again, NCAA champion.
It's so weird, though, that, like, I understand that Chad Gable's real name isn't actually Gable, but Gable Steveson is the guy's real name, and Chad Gable has been around wrestling now for years. It's just a weird coincidence that they're both Olympians.
Yeah, WWE is like, I bet you WWE is going to be watching the Olympic Games in Japan very closely. They're like, I wonder which next talent we're going to waste. We're going to fucking sign is.
Maybe they can find an even taller guy whose name involves Gable. We'll see.
Let me even see. I'm curious how old Chad Gable is now and how old he was when he came in NXT. Because again,
I think he's a little on the older side than you'd realize, like 33, 34-ish.
Let me see. He's 35. Yeah,
he's that's 35. Older than I thought.
Yeah, which again, like, that's why I'm so excited about Stevenson, because, like, 21 years
yeah,
old, dude.
Jesus.
Holy fuck. And the dude's look, he's like, I'm sorry to keep going on about this guy, guys, but, like, honestly, I kind of miss that feeling of being really jazzed up about a talent, because, like, his look, he seems there. I want to see him fucking ragdoll people and take them to the mat, dude. I am so excited for this. So I hope Diamond Mine is him.
The difference in age between Kurt Angle and Chad Gable is the 17 years. The difference in age between Gable and Gable is 14 years.
Beautiful. I am so fucking ready for this shit.
That's crazy though. Like it's basically a generation apart, and yet they're both going to be wrestling at the same time. Like I understand that Kurt technically was wrestling still while Chad Gable's been around, but was he real? Like it was like a twice a year kind of deal. Gable's still a full-time wrestler, and now Stevenson's going to come in, and yeah, I'm excited. It's a really interesting moment in time we're living in, especially because Gable, I think you could definitely argue, is still in his prime, for sure.
I can't wait for them to team up for Chad's 5th tag team in his WWE career, because it was Jason Jordan. By the time
Stevenson trains enough to debut on NXT, works NXT long enough to get called up, and then gets aligned right on the same brand as Chad Gable, it'll be his 8th tag team.
Yeah, dude, honestly, you're not even wrong. Why won't they do anything else with him? I don't understand. But anyway,
Stevenson's going to be 26. Gable's going to be 40 by the time they're on the same show.
Dude, and that's still crazy though, because 26 is still hella young by main roster standards. They are getting this dude so fucking young. Oh my god, which means they're gonna waste like the first 5 years, but I don't even care as long as I get to see him do his thing.
That's true too. WWE loves to just not give young people championships under the guise of, well, they're still young. There's still plenty of time left for them. We got to prioritize the older guy first so that they can get it in before they retire.
Yeah, talk to us in 16 years when you're 37, and then we'll revisit the issue. But no, I give me 5 years.
God, that's crazy. There are going to be kids that are in kindergarten right now starting wrestling by the time he wins his first world title. Fuck.
Oh, maybe not, though. I'm choosing for the umpteenth time, and I have no idea where I'm fucking getting it from. I'm choosing. Oh, God. I'm choosing to have hope.
What's wrong with you?
Everything. How you of all people can ask me that is honestly fucking shocking, because the answer is just everything.
Get here. We've been live for over an hour, and we haven't even gotten to like the fourth quarter of the show.
I mean, we're almost done, because this was Regal and Joe backstage, and then Joe, and they're all obnoxious and happy. And then Joe's like, hey, Johnny, can you do me a favor? Yeah, anything. Get out. Oh, okay, cool. You're great to see you. And then, oh my God, this douche. Peter Dune just does a stare down with Joe. Like, I can literally hear him heavy breathing, like on the inside.
I could literally smell the funk from here, because I felt like I could too.
Yeah, like he's just staring down Joe like, bitch, what are you trying to prove? You lost a takeover.
Pete Dunne just perpetually looks like he just got done with a really intense hour-long workout and hasn't showered yet.
He does. And I want to like Dunn, dude. That's the problem. I want to like this dude, but he does stuff like this, and I'm like, oh my god, okay, this is try hard. You know what I actually would have liked? You to interrupt Cross, maybe, and break his fingers again, because that was genuinely hilarious. When Cross was like, no, and then Dunn did it anyway. Like, that's the Pete Dunne I fucking want. You're squaring up with Joe. Why? Like, get the fuck out of here. We get Boomers, GYV Tornado Tag. We already said we hated this, and yeah, Boomers won. I hated it. I hated it so much. And then Regal and Joe proved that the NXT parking lot is now safe. To put the cherry on top of the sundae, that yeah, this is a different NXT because now you can safely park. Jesus Christ. Do you have anything else you want to say about the show?
No.
You said no?
Correct.
Okay. High spots, low shots. Low shot. You know what? My low shot's Adam Cole. He started a fight with Kyle O'Reilly and he finished a fight with Samoa Joe. And by finished it, I mean took a nap for the rest of the show.
Cross was the most disrespectful piece of shit, and yet Adam was the first to feel Joe's fury.
Dude, I know, and it hurts. It honestly hurts, and I laugh so that I don't cry. It's 100% a defense mechanism.
And I've also got to wonder if Kyle's playing mind games, scouting up cruiserweights to practice against for Adam.
You know, only because you put it under the guise of rational argument, I'm not going to send you to your room, but I know what everybody's fucking doing right now, and it's not cool. Okay? It's not cool. I'm thinking everybody needs to just simmer down for like 2 seconds. Who is your low shot?
Grizzled young vets, and I hate it.
You know, I don't have a problem with you, because that would mean having a problem with right reason, and that just doesn't feel right to me. I just have a problem that we live in a universe where you had to do it.
Yep.
High spot. Let me see. Who am I going to pick here? It's already tough because they're all not me, but let me see if I can figure something out.
It is true, man. It must be tough.
It is. I'm glad somebody recognizes it because the struggle is fucking real. God. This is actually harder than I thought. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to give my high spot to William Regal, actually. It's a weird high spot, but the dude started the show thinking he was going to hand the reins over, and he ended the show feeling that they were firmly back in his hands, thanks to Samoa Joe. So William Regal's my high spot, because as a character, he gets to keep his post, which I think makes us all winners in the end. Who's your high spot?
To justify my high spot, I want to just do a quick recap of every winner of a match tonight. Let's see. Breezango, Kushida, Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai, and Tim Thatcher and Tommaso Ciampa. So all those names having been listed, I hope that you all realize and understand why I'm choosing to not give my high spot to somebody that won a match tonight. Instead, my honorable, is that right? Yeah, honorable mention for my high spot is going to Santos Escobar for his really wonderful promo work. And my real high spot is going to what I believe was probably the most entertaining thing, other than Samoa Joe, which I will give an honorable high spot to Joe as well. But the most entertaining thing on this episode to me, Frankie Monet.
I loved your picks all the way down. I mean, honestly, I should have known that when Santos invoked science, that he had an honorary high spot locked up. And Joe being Joe.
God, what is wrong with my vocab? Jesus.
Yeah. Joe being Joe, that makes all the sense in the world. And then your actual high spot being Frankie Monet. Yeah, because here's the thing. I have been clamoring for more character-driven wrestlers, and the beautiful thing is she can actually work in the ring as well. Yeah. And she eats her character up in the best way. Yeah. Like, she gets it inside and out. So, congratulations, sir. As
she
per the
is
nature
like
of
the Nega Cross, because she owns her character. Cross character owns him.
Not even going to say anything. All right. With that said, this has been NXT. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my coordinate commentary action. Guys, be sure to like the video as you file out. The more likes you leave, the more likely we are to be the top result for NXT reviews on YouTube. And when you're the best at what you do, the top is the only place that you belong. So please leave that like. Be sure to subscribe and click the bell icon down below so that you can keep up with all that TWitWoW goodness. Check out everything we're involved in the description box. I already mentioned earlier the TWitWoW Patreon, specifically the Discord for $3 a month. Great community, great people. You could talk about pretty much anything you want in there, and we do Among Us Mondays, so it's a really fun time. You can also submit Q&A questions in there, and non-Patreon donors currently only get 3 Q&A questions, but if you donate $1, you get 2 additional questions for a total of 5. You can submit your questions through YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Discord. Get to the Twitter part in a little bit. And we do our Q&As the last Thursday of every month. For this month, it's actually fast approaching. It's June 24th. So it's a little less than 2 weeks away here. In fact, it's like just a week and some change away. So get your questions in if you haven't. Be sure to follow us both on Twitter. I'm at John_TwitWoW. My pin tweet is collecting Q&A questions. It's just a hub for you to submit your Q&A questions. Already been through. Non-Patreon donors get 3. Patreon donors for $1 get 5. And yeah, just get them in. Ashton's pin tweet is the TWitWoW schedule for the month. Obviously, we are in the month of June. So let us take a look at what we've got for the rest of this week, everyone, because it is the 15th today. So tomorrow, because it didn't go up today, we're assuming that it's going to be up tonight. Tomorrow at 4 p.m., we will be doing live reactions to Tokyo Dream Cinderella 2021. Thursday, we are off. Nothing scheduled for Thursday as of right now. And then Friday at 10, we've got a SmackDown review. So, and then Saturday and Sunday is Hell in a Cell weekend. Saturday at 9, we'll be previewing and predicting Hell in a Cell. That's going to be an interesting one, to say the least. And then Sunday at 7, we will be live reacting to it. So that's the rest of the week. So most immediately, guys, if you're here for our Stardom reviews, and I wish more people would be, because I think it's the best wrestling we cover in a week, that's going to be at 4 p.m. Tokyo Dream Cinderella is going to be a huge show. You really don't want to miss this. And Javaris, if you're still here, I hope you're able to join us in the chat tomorrow for it, dude, because I want all of the Stardom diehards in there to mark out with, because I think it's going to be some quality wrestling. If you're here for the WWE stuff because you're like, Japanese wrestling, the fuck is that? Just maybe correct course if you're so inclined. But if you're just also about that WWE life, we get it. So join us at 10 p.m. Friday the 18th for our SmackDown review, where we will acknowledge the son of the WWE Universe, our tribal chief, Roman Reigns, as we root for him to eat another ungrateful, snooty child out of his fucking ring. Until then, guys, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and until we see each other again, tune in, and peace out.